Sound rolling.
Camera 1.
Rolling.
Camera 2. Rolling.
My name is Yuri Herrera. I'm in the Department of Spanish and Portuguese. I'm a professor. I study and teach and write about Mexican literature, especially contemporary Mexican narrative. I came to Tulane in 2011 as a Mellon Fellow. The plan was to be here just for a couple of years, but eventually that position changed to be a tenure-track position. When I came here, I really didn't know much about Tulane. I really didn't know much about New Orleans. This is something that I have been doing a lot throughout my life. Yes, I have moved 8 times to 8 different cities, and every single time I didn't know the city before arriving there. But when I arrived, I immediately loved it, and now it's my home. When I think of the people that come to the Stone Center that do Latin American studies, I think it's symptomatic that I can't think of one very specific kind of people. That the people that come here come from very different paths of life, from very different countries, from different continents, from different disciplines. What I would say that unites them, or what I would say that is a common characteristic, is the curiosity for what Latin America is. Because very often, in many places, Latin America is just a cliche. And this is a place where those cliches are dissolved and where we face the diversity and the richness of Latin America. But also, there's something very special about studying Latin America in a city like New Orleans, that a lot of people say is the most northern city of the Caribbean. And not a lot of people know this, but New Orleans is a city that has been nurtured by the Latin American culture since its inception. So this kind of center would be important in any city, in any university, but the fact that it is here in a city with such interesting migration patterns and cultural patterns of New Orleans makes it completely different. And that reflects in the kind of people that come here, really curious people that are willing to open their minds to other kinds of disciplines and other kinds of voices. Right before the pandemic, maybe at the beginning of the pandemic, we did a reading in this place for the book that Julie Norman and me edited, called Somos Más que Huellas, which is this book about the writings by migrant women in New Orleans. I think it was a very touching experience because most of them have never been inside a university campus. And in this university campus, rarely you hear these voices as protagonist voices, you know. So I think the people that were here during that reading were extremely surprised. And actually, I'm calling it a reading, but there was not much of a reading. They were supposed to read from the book, and they just started talking about their lives. And it was really emotional. Several of them started crying, and the people were really touched. And I think it's one of those moments in which you realize that the work you do has the capacity to actually affect people's emotions. Not only the people who wrote the book, but the people who were learning about how the book was done and about the experiences behind the book. You know, there's many things, but maybe that one is the most important for me. One word that describes the legacy of the Stone Center, I would say that is reflection, because this is a space where you don't just repeat the knowledge that comes from other generations or from other places, but you keep reflecting on how it was produced and how we keep producing, how we keep thinking about Latin America. We don't just transmit in a critical way knowledge. We keep reflecting on it, so that's what I would think that reflection would be it.
Perfecto.
¿Sí?
Buenísimo.
Bueno.
Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.